Hello, welcome to my quick review of the HPI Models Toyota 2000 GT open top as featured in the James Bond film You Only Live Twice. Now in the film it was in white, this is obviously in a dark red, maybe even a burgundy, but another thing that I've already mentioned, open top, it's labelled on the HPI carton open top. Now you'd think it's convertible, and maybe it is, and it even looks like there's a convertible roof in here, but that is quite a slender strip, so I don't know if it is actually a convertible. Maybe it was just produced to look like a convertible and it never did have a roof that would come up. You don't see it in the film with the roof up at all, and I'm not sure if it's ever been shown with the roof up. There are two white ones in existence that were both made for the film. Otherwise, all Toyota 2000 GTs were fixed head coupes, like this yellow one, which I reviewed about a month or so ago, also by HPI. And while I've got this in front of you, I'm just going to point out this one has those typical Japanese spec wing mirrors, so they're on the wing, or what we call the wing. And yet this convertible doesn't, so interestingly enough. And also another difference that I'm going to pick up on is the positioning of this wiper and the fact that it's chrome all the way, whereas on this one the wiper blade part looks quite dark and it isn't down over the bodywork so much. Anyway, not too much of a problem. Now of course I think HPI did do some white ones of these, but you're only going to produce so many. They like to do limited runs, we all know that, so they'll do a different run in a different colour. So I've got the maroon one, and I got this one from Retro's Perspective. I'll put a link to that channel, YouTube channel, on at the end of this. I'll do one of those round things with an R in it. You'll see that right in the end sequence, so do click through to that. He does some interesting reviews where he talks about the cars, the actual cars. He's doing some 70s and 80s racing cars, Formula 1. Anyway, so looking at this model, obviously the big difference, open top, so we can see the interior. Now the interior is quite dark. Let's just see if I can light it up a bit. Okay, there we go. Doesn't really benefit from that lighting. Let's just turn that back off. Anyway, you've got a nice wooden rimmed steering wheel, quite a large wheel for a sports car, but that would be normal from something from the late 60s. So the car was introduced in 65. And the film itself was made, I don't know, a couple of years later perhaps. Anyway, there's rumours that Sean Connery was too tall for the car, but often in TV and film they like to have convertibles so you can see the driver. And of course this was driven by a Japanese agent, but Bond would have sat in the passenger seat on the left there, of course, being a Japanese right-hand drive car. Anyway, carrying on to look at the detail. The wheels are actually really nicely done. The spokes are so slender, you would almost think they were round spokes, much better than the Spark spoked wheels that I've been reviewing on a couple of models recently, where you can see that they're flat photo etch parts. I would assume these are too, but they're slender enough for you not to be able to tell that they're flat, and maybe they've even been able to round off the surface, I'm not sure, but not bad. While we're on that, let's look at the tyres. So yeah, very 60s narrow tyres, of course. Lovely exhaust pipe detail there. Very minimal rear suspension detail. And a small amount of cooling. Well, so it looked like the radiator was in there and then it would exit perhaps down underneath, which isn't great if you want lift, or if you don't want lift rather. But there are some exits up here, and that will have been the intake for the ventilation system most likely. So you've got these details here on the bonnet, just the latches or the hinges perhaps. That's nice. Pop-up headlamps, of course, so they're not going to move. Nothing on this car moves. The doors don't open, for example, which is fine. I mean, you get the finer detail. I mean, the shut lines aren't bad. You've got the lock and door handle. You've got some kind of badge there. I'm not sure whether that's a 2000 GT badge or something. Anyway, coming to the front of the car, you've got these driving lights, almost like Le Mans style driving lights really under those covers. Not bad. Interesting bumper, quarter bumpers here, because they're quite tall, and I don't know if that almost looks like a vent, but I don't suppose it is, so I'm not quite sure that they're tall for just for design effect, I guess. A little bit unnecessary, but okay, fine. And you've got reasonable grille detail there and some black bumper overriders just for you to bump into things with. Okay, not bad. Looking at the dash top, got some detail there, so that's nice to be able to see. And looking into the car, gear stick. Well, I think I'm seeing a handbrake just to the right of the gear stick there, probably. And quite a good number of dials and gauges there, actually. So that's a nice, it's a good look. Yeah, absolutely. Looking at the seats and the door cards, yeah, just lovely detail on these HPI cars. I've got a lot of reviews of HPIs. I do recommend you look at them. I'll put a link to a playlist in the end screen of HPI models, so you can just have a look through them. Variety, big variety from 90s Le Mans and, well, just all sorts of things. Bertoni HPI Stratos Zero, various things. Okay, good rear lights detail. Nice filler cap with some real detail on it, not just... Oh, goodness, why is Google talking to me? Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, not, thank you. Wow, random. Anyway, so yeah, very happy with this. Oh, hang on. Right, okay. So that wiper actually is a little bit loose, so I can actually put it up there, but it's still on its pivot point, so that's not bad. So as long as I just take care of that as I move it around, I'm going to put it straight into my display case now. So it should just be able to sit there fine and shouldn't get lost. Okay. Well, thanks very much for watching. Like I said, I've got loads of HPI model reviews, another 43rd scale models, Spark, a lot of Spark, and I've got some 12th, 18th and 64th scale. So do subscribe. I like to put out a video each Friday tea time. If you subscribe, you'll hear from me again. And thank you for watching. Take care.